This is the Bates Bobcast, our weekly podcast that takes a look at the week that was in Bates Athletics. My name is Aaron Morse, and we are back for the 10th season of the Bobcast. In this episode, we'll preview the volleyball, cross-country, and women's soccer seasons, with volleyball's first serve scrimmage and the cross-country alumni meet both happening this weekend. That's coming up on the Bates Bobcast. The volleyball team will welcome returnees and first years to Bates this Friday at 7:30 p.m. when the Bobcats invite the campus community to attend their first serve intra-squad scrimmage at Alumni Gym. Then on Wednesday, September 4th, the Bobcats host Husson at 6:30 p.m. Head coach Emily Hayes and junior captain Amy Evans join the Bobcast to preview the season. Well, we got Amy Evans and Coach Emily Hayes with us here on the Bobcast to talk some volleyball. First serve coming up this Friday night at Alumni Gym. You did this 2 years ago, bringing it back. Tell us a little bit about the plan on Friday, Emily.
Yeah, we're really excited to get the team together to compete for the second time this year. We had a good scrimmage down at Brandeis a couple days ago, but we love the first serve because we think it generates excitement campus-wide for the volleyball season, showing the first years where the gym is, where the volleyball matches are played. And also it's just a really cool, I think, kind of cohesive opportunity for the team to compete with each other as well as bring in the fun of the Garnet versus White.
I was going to ask you, Amy, as being one of the student athletes competing against your teammates in a scrimmage, I mean, you did this as a first year. How are you looking forward to it now as a junior?
Yeah, I would say compared to my first year, our team is a lot more competitive this year. So even during practices, we have a lot of fun, like competing for every position. So I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Great. And then it's best of three, right?
Best of three. Best 2 sets out of 3. So don't leave after the first set. Volleyball matches are normally 3 out of 5, but for the shortness of this night, we're going to go a best 2 out of 3 match.
Yeah. And then, Emily, just looking at your team so far, what are some major takeaways you noticed from the practices and from the scrimmage you had at Brandeis?
Yeah, well, to steal Amy's words, we've got a lot of depth and competition in our gym, and I think that is visible to the continuous rising of success on the court. I think that people are just continuing to raise their level of game because the people next to them are making them better. So it's really, really cool to see that along with the versatility. And I think that there's a whole new level of scrappiness in our gym this year.
And Amy, you're one of 4 captains, so tell us about that leadership role and what's it like being a captain this season.
Yeah, I would say each of us bring a lot of different aspects to the captain role. There are 2 that are already there, and so me and Katie being added on, it's just a lot easier in like communicating and like balancing each aspect of the team, or like each player, since our team has grown from like 16 or 15 to 20 now. So we kind of have like all hands on, and we have really good communication between each other too. Yeah,
the captains Julia Newman, Katie Kordakas, Chrissy Chu, and Amy right here. Of course, Emily, what makes this group of 4 such strong leaders?
They're all so different from each other, and it's really, really awesome to see them come into their own. I think one thing that we're trying to empower as coaches is like we want Amy to be the best Amy leader she can be, and Julia the best Julia leader she can be. Like, we're not trying to make anybody, be anybody that they're not. And we think that everybody brings their own strength. And something I've found myself saying is I feel like people throughout the years, obviously we have a lot of first years I think we'll, talk about, but we have a lot of people that have been a part of this program and have experienced a lot of growth individually. And we're able to see them lead as their own person, leadership council or not. Like, people on the team are just leading in their own ways, and it's really cool to see the team benefit from that.
Well, Amy, I mean, you being from Hawaii, it feels like almost half the team at this point is from Hawaii. Maybe not quite, but close. So what's it like having your fellow Hawaiians here, and how many did you know before you came to Bates?
It's funny because I knew, 2 really closely, and Sky, which is our freshman this year, she's a setter, actually went to Ellie's school. And so I actually went to like her grad party before coming up too. So it's such a small island, and we're like family. I want Emily to keep recruiting more people from Hawaii. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when Sky was in the recruiting process, I'm sure you talked to her a bit.
Sure.
What'd you tell her about Bates?
I just told her that everyone here is really nice, and if she wants a really strong academic school and wants to compete in the high like NESCAC level, that we would love to have her, and I just love Hawaii people, so I wanted her to come, of course.
Great. And then, Emily, how does Hawaiian Pipeline start for you? I know you obviously were on the West Coast previously as a coach, but how did you bring that pipeline to Bates?
Yeah, I guess just a quick shout out to some of the club coaches and just volleyball people in general in Hawaii. Like, they're some of my closest friends, and I have a lot of trust with them. Amy's coach and club director came out here, and it's something to be able to go through the recruiting process and trust a coach just so implicitly that and I think that was helpful because it kind of goes both ways, and so it's really, really nice, at the end of the day, to have that comfort and that trust already built there. And I mean, they bring just some awesome kind of uniqueness with them, and all four of our players from Hawaii bring incredible work ethic and ball control and volleyball IQ.
Amy, I'm curious. Obviously, you have first serve this Friday, but the season gets going next week. I think it's Wednesday, right, against Husson here at Alumni Gym. So, as one of the captains, what are some maybe goals you have in your mind for yourself and for the team? Have those goals been expressed, in any way, shape, or form in terms of, as a team talks together and whatnot?
I think we're still trying to get a read on each other, and since there's so many new players and so many new setters, which is really important to learn about team chemistry and stuff like that. So I guess using this next week and a half to get used to team chemistry and just building relationships with one another, and then I guess we'll start talking about our team goals and stuff like that.
Yeah, you mentioned the setters. Obviously, you're a hitter, and you led the team in kills last year, but how are you developing chemistry with all those different setters you have this season?
Yeah, there's so many communication. If I need a set tighter or higher, it's really hard because a setter, for a lot of people that don't know, is like a quarterback, right? And so a lot of people might throw it higher or faster than the other. So it's just a lot of communication and just being okay with correcting it and not taking it harshly, that kind of thing, and just learning each other's personalities is really helpful, and I think we're going to be really successful.
Great. And then, Emily, as the head coach, what do you want to see from your team starting Wednesday against Hudson?
I want to see our hard work, really years of culture work, depth and competitive work, and just technical training come into play. And I want to see this team. I don't know that I've ever coached a team that loves each other and trusts each other more, and being able to see that translate onto the court. When you feel safe and secure on the court with the folks next to you, you're able to do awesome things. And so I guess I want to see the hard work and the scrappy practices translate when we got jerseys on, which it will. Excellent.
Amy, any other thoughts you want to share on the upcoming season or the first serve this Friday we haven't gotten to talk about yet?
I would just say come out to watch and stay for all the sets. Don't just leave on the first set, please. Thank you.
Emily, any other thoughts you want to share on first serve? When does it start? 7 o'clock?
7:30.
7:30, okay.
Yeah, so we were able to work with the orientation folks and directors to have that incorporated into their schedule. So you're able to come out after dinner, I believe, over to Alumni Gym and just grab a spot on the bleachers and enjoy. We have an incredible group of first-year student athletes who bring just dynamic play and, again, a really strong sense of competitiveness. And they're coming in and joining a group of returners who have worked so diligently to make this a program that we're proud of. And the ceiling is high for this team, and we're excited to just lean into each other this year and focus on ourselves.
All right. Emily Hayes, Amy Evans, we got first serve for volleyball this Friday at 7:30 at Alumni Gym. Check it out. And then obviously back home Wednesday for a best-of-5 match against Husson. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This Saturday, the cross-country and track and field program hosts their annual alumni meet, which has been relocated to Merrill Gym this year due to the construction at Russell Street Track and Field. The throws competition will commence at 9:30 in the morning, while the 5K campus course run begins at noon. Head coach Danny Feldman previews the meet and the cross-country season as a whole. Coach, what kind of turnout are you expecting for this alumni meet coming up? And second year we're doing the throws as well, right?
Second year doing throws. I'm thinking we're going to have triple-digit show out from alums, which is, again, amazing. I think this will be a bit of a bittersweet alumni run just because we did have the passing of Coach Farashidyan and Hannah Austin both too soon. So I think this will be a really joyous alumni race, but one where I think a lot of people will, have a lot of emotions.
Yes, certainly. I know you'll be talking about Hannah, and Coach Johnson will be talking about Coach Fresh. What are some things maybe you wanted to mention here in advance of this in terms of what, both of them perhaps meant to, Bates?
I mean, I guess I'll give two vignettes that I was going to even talk about, but I'm happy to bring up in this interview. One is Coach Fresh would always text the coaches before any big meet, whether it was cross country or track. And he was texting with me up until outdoor track last season when Ned had his unbelievable performance. And so just the fact that even though he was no longer coaching here, he was still keeping up with everything. And then with Hannah, I never coached her, but boy, you talk about a presence and the type of kid that I would have killed to have on my team. She reached out through one of the kids on the team the moment I started, asking to come and just support and be there with the team for all the workouts that she could make at Pineland. She didn't have to be there, but that just spoke to the type of person she was, the character, but also how much Bates meant to her and the team. And, I can't really express the emotions that I feel for her actions, but also how sad we are that this all transpired.
Yeah, certainly. And this year, the alumni meet also is kind of relocating a little bit with Russell Street Field still under construction. That's going to be a turf field, and the throwing circle will get moved a little bit there. Javelin will get moved a little bit. For now, the race course is going to start at Merrill. Take us through the campus course. I know we have it on the website, but take us through what the alumni will be running and the current student athletes as well.
So a lot of alums have reached out expressing that given that things have changed so often on campus, that the course has been rerouted, that we tried to make this really seamless. So we are starting at the doors of Merrill.
Yep.
And you're shooting straight towards Commons, and then you're hooking a right behind Garcelon Field, and you're basically doing a huge perimeter loop of the campus 2.5 times, and then you're coming down the walkway that leads past Pettigrew and Peagill, and take that past Garcelon all the way back to the doors of Merrill, and that'll be a true 5K. So it's going to be kind of boring in a sense, but people will not get lost.
Right. You don't want to get lost, that's for sure. And then the throws will have, obviously, indoor throwing events, so correct. Shot put and weight throw. So are you going to be participating at any point in these?
I don't think so. I don't want to hurt myself. Okay. I know that a lot of the current student athletes would probably love to see me throw poorly, which is always what I did even when I was a thrower. But I think we have a lot going on that day that we're more helping out all the alums and current students that are on the team.
Is this your third?
Start my third year.
Okay, so the third alumni meet you've been part of. During your time at Bates, what's the sense you have of the importance of this event for the current student athletes as well as the alumni coming back?
I didn't appreciate it when I first got here. I viewed it as a potential detriment to the training program that I was giving. But all it took was just a couple of phone calls with coaches on the staff, Tom Leonard, who is a very committed alum, of how important having everybody back is. The fact that this has been going for over 50 plus years, I think I really have a greater appreciation for it. And so, yeah, this is important because I want the kids that are on this team right now coming back. And I've already heard from several of the kids that graduated since I've been here that they're all coming back. And they don't have to come up to Lewiston, but they want to. And to me, that's pretty damn special.
Tell us about your captains on both the men's and the women's side this year and what make them kind of leadership material. I know you have some repeat captains, I believe, on both sides, right, this year? Yep, with Ben and Sophie as well.
Correct, yes. So we have some juniors that were captains last year that are seniors this year, and I think that that's really important because our approach was to have a couple of juniors so that they could really soak in what the expectations were like of being a leader, but also could be someone that the other captains could lean on if they were a brand new captain. So on the men's side this year, we have Ben Huston, who is a returning captain. We have Nick Brown, Andrew Motter, and then Jackson Mons, who is a junior. And then on the women's side, we have Lily Miller and Sophie, who are both seniors. And then we have Elizabeth Holcomb and Lucy Painter, who are both juniors. And all 8 of those runners have been really integral in making this preseason not only great, but just making sure that we are doing our best to keep up our team culture, making sure that everybody is kind of in the right mindset throughout all of this, because our sport can be a grind, and I think all 8 of them are really on top of things.
How easy is it for you to tell through a few practices we've had so far which runners came ready and are maybe competing for a starting lineup spot, and which ones maybe need a little more time?
Easy.
Yeah,
very
easy.
We did a time trial on Saturday, and let me tell you, there was none of the latter. Our kids put in work, and I was blown away. I mean, we had 6 women sub 12 in the 3200. We had 7 guys sub 920 in the 3200, and we had to do it over at Edward Little High School. All the kids were jazzed up. I even put it in the email the other day. We had 2 different random walkers. One was an Edward Little high school baseball coach. The other was just a retired Auburnite. I don't know. Is that what someone from Auburn is? An Auburnite? I don't know. They both came up, and they're like, the energy and the teamwork and the camaraderie. They were so jazzed for seeing it at 8:00 in the morning, and all those. The men and women on our team clearly showed that they've been putting in some work, and they wanted to see where they were at. And we used it not to put anybody on notice, more so I can make sure that I'm putting them in the right workout groups for the next couple of weeks, so that we're not either overtraining or undertraining. But it gave a lot of positive juju leading into this week.
So a time trial, 3,200. What makes 3,200 the ideal distance for that? Because obviously I know women run a 6K, men run an 8K during the regular season.
So when you're doing a VO2 test, one way that you can do it if you don't have the technology is running a 3K or 3,200. Because the max, usually the calculations are the max amount of oxygen that you can take in efficiently is around a 3K all-out effort. And so that's why we did the 3,200. So then I know it's not like a mile where it was so short that someone that's got a lot of speed got away with it, or it was like a 10K where someone that doesn't have super endurance. So it's like that nice little sweet spot of really testing ourselves. And now I use that in my calculations for the workouts coming up.
So looking at the schedule this year, it opens with the CBB meet in Brunswick on September 7th. And then we get back-to-back home meets, but there's a twist. They're at different locations, but they are home meets. The main state meet we're hosting at Roy's Disc Golf, and that's on September 21. And then there's a week off, actually, but then October 5th, Pineland Farms for the Bates Invitational. So this is a little bit different than we've had in the past. So main state's at Roy's, and then Bates Invitational at Pineland. What's kind of the strategy behind that, if you will? I guess because you probably get to pick the location, right?
I did pick the locations. The calculus was for the meet at Roy's, which is September 21st.
Yeah.
We wanted to move up the main state meet for a variety of reasons that I don't need to necessarily get into. Nothing bad, but it was more of to give us the best chance to go to nationals. Moving the main state meet up helped give us the ability to continue the tradition of competing at main states, but not the downside of such a limited amount of competition that it hurts us at the at-large process. Now, going to Roy's, it is one of the most viewable courses in the United States of America. And so now that we have a bit more time to actually set up the meet versus last year where we did a meet there because of a hurricane.
Right.
It was 48 hours notice. We slapped it together. This is trying to do it right, that if things go well and we do a little bit more manicuring, maybe we would host the regional meet down the road because it is big enough and viewable and overall flat that coaches would be okay with us hosting. So that's why we're doing that on the 21st, and it's the main state meet. October 5th, everybody loves Pineland. And so making sure that that still stayed on our radar, but I threw out a very big net trying to invite a lot of teams from out of region to come. I think right now the only really big team from out of New England that's coming is Washington and Lee from Virginia. But we're trying to grow this meet so that a lot of teams feel like this is a good opportunity in order to try to either go at us or at another team from out of region so that when it comes to the end of the season, they have the at-large points to then go to nationals.
Excellent. And then, after that, Connecticut College Invitational, which is obviously in Connecticut. And then NESCAC Championships, you're back in Maine, so you're barely leaving the state, really, until regionals, right?
Yeah, and you know what? I like the idea of getting on the road when we can because I think the kids get to learn a lot about their teammates and themselves when they are not in their comfort zone. But competing in cross-country is really freaking hard.
Yeah.
Running an 8K and a 6K. So if we can stay kind of close to home and minimize the travel for as long as possible, I think that gives us a gainful advantage.
Any other thoughts you want to share about this weekend's alumni meet we haven't got to talk about yet? What people should know if they show up to watch or compete?
I would say it is a 5K for both genders. Usually it's been divided like a 2-miler and a 5K. Everybody's crossing the street this time around. I think we want anybody and everybody that wants to compete, whether it's walking or running. We're going to have people sectioned off at every corner and turn so that everyone knows where they're going. But we just want people to have fun. And afterwards, making sure that they are chatting with the people that they know, maybe meeting some of the current student athletes, because people are coming back because Bates had an indelible effect on them. And I just want to make sure that they can, bestow some of their stories or their connections with the current class and vice versa.
All right, the throws are at 9:30 in Merrill this year, and then the noon 5K starting at Merrill, and then going throughout campus, as we broke down earlier. Danny Feldman, head coach of our cross-country program. Thank you so much for joining the Bobcast. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Aaron.
The first regular season game of the 2024 Bates Fall Sports Calendar is next Tuesday at 5 p.m. when the Bates women's soccer team hosts Husson on Garcelon Field. Head coach Joe Very gives us a look at his team.
Yeah, we've been really happy with the way preseason's gone with the group and the players. Energy level has been really high. The enjoyment and the connection from the players has been really, really great. So we're really happy where we are level-wise. Hard to believe that we're a week away from starting a game. It always just comes so fast, and you try and jam so many things into it. And like for me, that gives me palpitations, but the players are excited, playing at a high level, and so we're looking forward to kicking off the season in a week.
And your first years that are here getting their first experience of college soccer, what do you kind of tell them about the transition sort of?
Yeah, a lot of it is be okay making mistakes, and just try and fit in and really work on kind of the adjustment type thing. And I like the fact that we're here early and they don't have to worry about classes yet because, college transition just in general, moving away from family, sometimes, cross country is a big change. And then you just throw in a lot of the soccer and those types of things. But we've been really, really impressed with all the first years. They've really just jumped in and the level's been super high from them. So I think the adjustment period for them was really short-lived. But our upper class players have really done a good job of being mindful of the first years, talking through them with things, checking in on them. So that part of things, I think our returning players have really made that transition that much easier for them.
I feel like last year, women's soccer team played a lot of very close matches. A lot of, unfortunately, 1-0, right, with going against Bates. So what's the key, I guess, very simple question, getting the ball in the back of the net a little more often?
Yeah, that's there certainly is a premium in scoring first, and specifically in the NESCAC, because it's such an outrageous stat. It's something like 80% of the team that scores first, they win 80% of the games in the conference. So there's a super high premium in there. So a lot of it is, two-sided. We obviously want to create some more opportunities, so that's been a big focus for us. But, you also don't want to give up an easy one early, so then you're just kind of working from behind. But, yeah, I mean, that was a little bit of our story last year. It was like kind of the year of almost, and, teams took advantage of the mistake that we made, and we didn't quite take advantage of the mistake an opponent made. So, we're hoping that obviously the tides turn a little bit for us this year.
I believe Ellie Tiska is back, right?
She is, yeah. She's on her way back. Should get cleared for contact here in the next week. Okay. Her energy level's been amazing. Kat Zola is also in the same boat, but maybe a week or two behind her. And then Ruby Hill also is about the same timeline with Ellie, and I will pick them up right when we kind of hit the meat of the season, so it'll be, I think, a big boost, not only for morale, but obviously getting some good players. But every step that they've been taking on the recovery, the team has been so excited to see them and cheering them on. So, we're really looking forward to having them come back and be healthy.
And then, correct me if I'm wrong, but Anna Masumoto missed her first year with an injury and then came back and had a very strong season last year. So is that kind of almost like a template of how to do it?
Yeah, I think so. Anna, was unfortunate. She almost missed 2 straight years, I think 2 calendar years of soccer. And she's playing at just a great level. She's silky smooth and really strong, and is just such a bright personality as well too. So it is. Unfortunately, like I said, sometimes they're long-term recoveries. But it is. Anna's the roadmap of being able to come back and be maybe even a better player.
Now, this year, we're going to be starting off on Garcelon as our home field for about a month, and then hopefully moving over to Russell Street. Looks like maybe late September, early October. We'll be moving over to Russell Street on that turf there. I assume the team is very excited to see that turf. I see it right now. It's getting down.
Yeah. Turf companies out there, they're making amazing strides on day one, and the players are like, "There's no way it's going to take that long," and it's like, okay, like let's temper some expectations. And we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
And so obviously that new surface, the additional lights there will be really massive, and it's helpful. And obviously, really, it will just really help us both in men's soccer, scheduling wise, being able to have that facility, primarily for us in the fall, and then obviously it's just going to make a massive increase in our department winter months, and then also, like I said, with the lights, with some of the nighttime things. So I think that could also be the same thing. We could get a good little energy boost once that thing is, geared to go. And, so things are progressing really well with it.
Playing on turf versus playing on grass, I mean, I'm not a soccer expert, but I feel like turf obviously increases the speed of the game, but also just increases the goal scoring, doesn't it?
I don't know. That's an interesting... It certainly speeds the game up.
Yeah.
And there's certainly balls that you play on grass and it would stay in, and on turf it just is going to go over the end line. Mm-hmm. So, we're hoping it increases the goal scored, for us. So we'll see. Let me do a little data and I'll get back to you.
Yeah, this is my observation through the years. It seems like whenever the women's soccer team plays on Garcelon, you're scoring.
It might be a little bit of Garce magic there. No, I mean, I think it like I said, it's going to be a really great facility for us.
Excellent. What are your thoughts on the upcoming season you wanted to share? Anything you wanted to mention that people should know about the team kind of entering the 2024 campaign?
Yeah, I mean, we've just slowly been kind of inching our way positively in the conference, and I think, like you said, we were a little on the wrong end of some results last year, and hopefully we can right the ship on those. And we also have some really good non-conference games that'll test us. But I think we're really excited where we are with the group and the players. The energy's been really great. They've been really supportive. So it's always kind of the team has a different personality, every single year, and you lose some players, you bring in some new players. So the personality and the energy of things is different, and I'm really, really happy where we are right now at the moment.
All right, Coach. Thanks so much.
I appreciate it.
Next time on the Bates Bobcast, our fall sports previews continue as we talk field hockey, men's soccer, and women's golf. That's next week on the Bates Bobcast.